Good evening, Norcal Karters. This is Jason, and tonight we have a very special guest. This is Norcal Karting alumni, and many times his name has been dropped as a success story on why you should race a go-kart and make it to the higher levels of kart or motorsports. So tonight we have Scott Speed.
My man. Barry
Scott,
on the mic.
thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Of course, my man.
So this will be a little interesting to go live. So I'm kind of ready to go. And I want to give a first shout out to one of my buddies, James. He hosts the Kart Pulse website. He spent about an hour with me last week trying to get the sound dialed and all that good stuff. So I appreciate it. Because we actually had Scott on a couple weeks ago, and I had a massive fail with my sound system. So, James, kartpulse.com, thank you for helping me out. This is the special guest I was talking about. So, Scott, where do you want to start?
You tell me, buddy.
You want to talk about your hot tea maker?
My hot tea maker. I got my little sinkerator thing that pours instant hot water out into my tea. I broke it in this evening, and I've already scorched the taste buds off my mouth. I was going to enjoy a nice podcast here with Jason sipping on some chamomile tea, but I'm now in the ice pack for my tongue.
Chamomile. That was going to be my second question. What kind of tea is it? So perfect.
Yeah, that's my jam. I remember as a kid, Dad, Pops, he's wound up tight. And I remember as a kid, he would say these calming pills, and they had chamomile in them. I think he's since given up on that a little bit. Or I don't know if he's actually given up on it, or as much as, since me and Alex aren't racing now, his natural stress levels returned to somewhat normal.
He is a different Mike than I knew.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
He's likable now.
Yeah, well, I've done a few kart races with Pops in the last decade or so, and I can tell you that they all went exactly as the old ones. So we have not learned anything or calmed down at all together.
Yeah, but you guys were such a dynamic duo. There was a couple of years there, you guys were unbeatable. And watching the intensity of how intense you and your dad were, there's definitely some learning to be gained from that. But yeah, it was a little tense.
That's just how we are, man. That's how we do our thing.
But look where that attitude took you. You haven't raced everything, but you pretty much raced everything.
I've been super lucky. I've got to drive a lot of different types of cars, and I've really enjoyed that. That's been really, honestly, the most fun, because you get to sort of, obviously I'm an open wheel guy. That's what I was born to do. And for sure, my skill level on an open wheel car is for sure my greatest attribute, but being able to drive a bunch of other stuff as well at a pretty high level is fun, because when you start going down that path, you start from zero, and you're really quite terrible at the beginning, and you have to learn, as you go, and that process of learning and getting better at something is super rewarding.
Yeah, I don't know how terrible you really were. I was looking at your past racing results and resumes, and you stacked
up. But it's
up.
not compared. You got apples to apples. As far as an open wheel car, I'm one of the best I'm one of the best in the world at it. I can compete with almost anybody in the world in an open wheel car. So, compared to that, I would consider myself pretty average at everything else I've driven.
Yeah, I just forgot. I was going through your race results and some of the interviews you've done with other people, so I don't ask kind of the same questions. Like, oh, what's your favorite car to drive and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I'm just looking at the results. Yeah, you won that, you won that, you won that. You won at every single level, and you made it all the way to Formula One. And then you go to NASCAR. and then
Yeah.
Global Rallycross. And
Yeah.
it just looking at it, it almost looks funny on paper of how diverse of a career that is.
Yeah, man, I've always just kind of gone, where the wind took me. I've never been the kid. I was never the guy that was out there super pounding the pavement, begging for sponsors, and really forcing anything to happen. I was lucky in the sense that a lot of things, I was in the right place at the right time, and that's why I made it. But there was never one thing outside of Formula One that was like, that is what exactly I want to do, and nothing else will do, and then just chase one specific, type of racing. After Formula One, it was more like, well, I want to try it as much as I can. And when the opportunities presented themselves, I took them, and wherever that brought me. And as it stands now, I get to race rally cars with Subaru, and it's such an awesome situation now. And then in the future, all my in-laws are professional drag racers. They're all NHRA champions multiple times over, and I'd be shocked if at some point in my career I don't at least send it down the drag strip once or twice.
Have you been behind the wheel in one of those yet?
Not yet, but
Not
it's kind
yet.
of a debate of what I want to try, because my brother-in-law, Matt Smith, who is the NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion last year, he does motorcycles, and my father-in-law races Pro Mod, which is a car. So I don't really know which one I want to try first. They're both pretty interesting in their own right. But certainly I think doing some kind of drag racing in the future will just have to happen just to do it. That'd be crazy. I got such a good opportunity with my extended family. It'd be crazy not to try it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just add it to your resume. And then shouldn't you start off with like a Miata or something to get used to going straight?
They got it all sorted out, buddy. They'll start me out slow. They got I don't know they got like little super comp cars. They're like they look like top field dragsters, but they go pretty slow. So I can hop in that probably at the beginning.
There you go. What's slow? 8-9 seconds?
Man, that's a great question. Hey, babe. Yeah, so those cars go 9 seconds.
9 seconds.
I have
Okay.
to ask the wife.
That's still hauling ass.
Yep. That is, yeah. It looks slow though, because they look like top fuel cars. But evidently they steer really funny. But in any case, like I'll get in there.
Yeah, let's try that
At
first.
some point.
A fast car that goes straight that steers funny.
Well, I mean, it's going straight, so we'll see.
Yeah, so racing is definitely in your blood, that's for sure.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Are you just
Funny enough,
smiling
my
over?
girls-
Are you at home smiling, just thinking about your next racing experience?
Yeah, and I'm laughing now because neither of my girls really want to race, which I think is awesome.
They do not, or they do?
No, they do not.
They do not.
Do not.
What do the
Nope.
girls want to do?
And I don't know. Jules really likes soccer, so she's playing on like a travel soccer team. And Ava is like a female version of me. She doesn't really know what she wants yet, but I really hope it's it's something good, because she just reminds me a lot of me. She's very Ava. She's how do I describe her? She's in her own world always. And she's,
Okay.
yeah, NFG, no F's given. Just like her old man. Cheer to my eye.
Oh, that's very neat. It's fun. Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah, kids
drag
are the
racing.
best, man.
You threw me a curveball there. I wasn't expecting that.
I mean, at some point I'm going to do it, for sure.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about your wife fixing, what was it, a washing machine?
Yeah, well, she pretty much fixes everything,
Oh,
to be
okay.
fair. I mean, my wife's really good at life. So I found an appropriate mate.
Got it.
Because at the end of the day, I'm still pretty much as mature as the last time you saw me. I think I must have been like 15 years old at that time.
Okay. So you married her, not the other way around.
Yes, I came over from F1. I landed in Charlotte, North Carolina, and was like, what the F? Like, holy smokes, culture shock. And she was doing PR for the truck team that I raced for.
Okay.
And 8 months later, we were married.
Wow.
When you know, and I knew right away.
There you go. Okay, very nice. 8 months.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
Almost 11 years.
11 years?
Almost 12 years.
2 daughters?
Almost 12 years. Yep.
Family man.
Yep, and I got an awesome stepson who is 18 and going to college. He funny enough wants to be an F1 engineer.
Okay.
I have no idea. He found that all on his own. There is one picture of a Formula One car in my entire house. No driving suits, no nothing. No picture, no nothing. And he just decided he wants to be an F1 engineer. And he's super smart. He's like top of his class in college right now for engineering. And he is so much more mature than I am. It's kind of embarrassing. He travels with me to the races and he interns with the engineering staff, and it almost feels like he's the adult.
So he's your chaperone.
Yeah. He's my wingman.
Very cool.
That's
a family affair.
We got. Oh yeah, of course, man. It's always been.
Yeah, that's neat. Okay, so speaking of the race teams, I'm not going to ask you what your favorite team or anything else was. What was the team with the best food?
I mean, that's the. It's hard to say because I'm a really picky eater. So when I was in F1, I had exactly what I wanted whenever I wanted it. Like chicken meat sauce spaghetti with a Nutella crepe. Like I just had exactly what I wanted at all times.
Okay.
So I'll say F1 by landslide in that regard. But the cooking that we have with Team Subaru is so good. The people come to the races. They own this shop called the Cornerstone Pub in some small town in Vermont, and this place is amazing. And the cooks come to the races with us, and what they prepare is really ridiculously good. And since I can remember, it's definitely the best food I've had.
Okay.
And they're always cooking random stuff, and they're just really good cooks. That's all there is to it.
And they go to all the races with you?
Yeah, they go and they cook for the whole team, so they're always cooking like, a bunch of pizzas or just really good food. I don't know how to describe it. It's all fresh, and I haven't had that in a long time. Normally it's track catered food.
Steamed chicken and steamed broccoli, French fries.
Yeah.
The track food.
Yeah. Well, most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was going back to some of the other interviews you did. I really didn't want to ask you what your favorite car to drive was, because you've referenced it a number of times where they're all unique to themselves. But I will ask you, I think it was the GRC you were talking about. Which car is closely related to a 125 shifter kart?
Out of all the race cars I've driven?
Yeah.
Oh, a rallycross car, for sure.
For sure. Hands
down.
You're
shifting gears so quickly. Yeah, you're shifting gears so quickly, and those type of cars, because they're four-wheel drive, inherently like to kind of point and shoot.
Okay.
So really, the rallycross car out of every car I've driven easily is the closest to a shifter.
So the rallycross is the closest to the shifter. You hear that, kids? If you want to go to rallycross racing, buy a shifter.
Yeah.
What is the most redundant question you were asked on interviews?
Oh, man, I have no idea. Normally it's always the same. Like how it works typically is if you have a race or something is going to happen. You're going to crash, you're going to win, you're going to lose. Something will happen. And then from that point until the next point,